Hello and welcome to the History Help channel. Today we will be looking into the 10th chapter, that is contact with the distant lands and what else is happening in the country. So up till now we studied about Mauryan dynasty. We studied about even before that we studied about Mahajanapadas. We studied about how villages and towns grew up. Today we will look into what happened after the Mauryan dynasty got destroyed, or got extinct. Okay, so we will look into the foreign kingdoms, who are all the foreigners who came into the country and how they ruled the empire, how they ruled the country. Then we'll also look into what were the kingdoms in South India when North India was ruled by Mauryas and all, who were there in the south of the country. Okay, so first we will look into the foreign kingdoms. So to give before we start with the foreign kingdoms, one thing to notice. See, we learned that around 321 BC, the Mauryans came and Chandragupta Maurya, he established the Mauryan Empire. So he established in 321 BC. So after Chandragupta Maurya, his son Bindusara, then his son Ashoka, all of them ruled the Mauryan kingdom. So Mauryan kingdom was very big. It was an empire. Empire means lot of states are there, a lot of this regions are included in the empire. Lot of states were there. So we already saw a picture of how big it was. So after Ashoka also, the Mauryan kingdom was there, but gradually it became weaker. And in 195 BC, a commander called Pushyamutra Shunga, he killed the Mauryan king and he established Shunga dynasty. So there was no more empire, no more Mauryan empire. Now it was a Shunga dynasty had come into in the region. So there were all small kingdoms. So up till now it was a Mauryan empire which was very big. But later on, after 185 BC, whatever were there were small kingdoms, like the Shunga dynasty was there. Then there was something called Pandavas. So many small kingdoms were there in the country. So during this time, that is around 200 BC onwards, so lot of foreign people started coming into the country and ruling. Until now, it was only Indians, like Chandragupta Maurya was born in the Indian soil only, and with the help of Chanakya, he formed the Mauryan Empire. But now, Ashoka, Bindusara, everybody was from the Indian soil only. But now, foreigners started coming in. So who were the foreigners and what did they do? That's what we will see here. So there were 4 kingdoms, 4 foreigners who came and established their kingdom in the country. So for these 4 kingdoms we will study in under foreign kingdoms. Okay. So the first kingdom was Indo Greeks. Okay. So take a look at this picture, I will show you. So here you saw the Indo Greeks region that was towards northwest of the country. So Indo Greeks ruled from a place in North Afghanistan called as a place called Bactria. Okay. Then they slowly came into the northwest part of the country and started ruling. So one of their important kings. So these Indo Greeks were nothing but Greek people who had settled down there. They slowly migrated and conquered the regions of northwest India. One of their greatest kings was Menander. So Menander became a Buddhist. His other name was Milinda. Okay, so the Indo Greeks came and settled down in the country, and one of their kings we know is Menander or Milinda. Okay, so they settled down in northwest India, Kabul, then Punjab, all these regions in the country, they settled down. So this was in after 200 BC. So 2000 years ago, the Indo Greeks were there. Do you think they left anything in India? Do you think we have any kind of their imprint? Do you see any Greek stuff in the country? So for that, if you actually look into the Indo-Greek kingdoms, read about them, you will come to know that Indians and Greeks, they did a lot of exchange of ideas. So they exchange ideas in medicine field, in astronomy field, then in philosophy field, then even in art, and in paintings, in sculpture. So they all had exchanged ideas with each other. And right now we will be talking about the art field, but the rest of the fields, Greeks and Indians had contributed and shared ideas among each other. Okay, so also if you see the theaters in the country, the art of putting the curtains in the theater, and many of the props that we used in drama and theater fields, we have some of them we have borrowed from the Greek theater ideas. Okay, so even Greek coins have been formed. So the artwork and all we have exchanged with each other. Okay, so this is about Indo Greeks. The next foreign kingdom which came was Shakas. Okay, these Shakas, they came after Indo Greeks, and you can take a look at this picture. So here you saw how they have enveloped the northwest part of the country. They also took over Punjab, they took over the Mathura, then even Western India, then Deccan. So Shakas also ruled for some, they ruled in many places, but whatever they did in Western India was the strongest. There they ruled for almost 400 years. Okay, so in the Shakas, one of the important kings is Rudradaman. You know, Rudradaman we know because he repaired a dam or a tank in Gujarat. So he repaired a tank that was built by Chandragupta Maurya in 321 BC, around that time. He repaired a tank, and then he wrote that so and so year I have repaired it. So we know Rudradaman was a king during the Shaka era. He was actually a foreigner, but he knew Sanskrit, and he was totally kind of Indianized. So this is about Shakas. Now Shakas were also in Western India and a little bit in the Deccan, that is in South India also. So we will later see when we study about kingdoms of South how they dealt with Shakas. Okay. So first Indo-Greeks came, then Shakas came. Okay. Next, the third kingdom that came was Parthians. Now the Parthians came after Shakas, and they were from Iran. And they also ruled the northwest India regions. Okay. After Parthians came Kushans. The fourth kingdom was the Kushans. So this we will study in a little bit more detail. Okay. Now take a look at this picture. So you can see the Kushans were like a bit bigger empire compared to the rest, compared to Indo-Greeks or Shakas or even Parthians. Kushan empire was there. It also had become an empire like the Mauryans, and there were some very good kings in the Kushan empire. Who were they? They were Khadphases 1, Khadphases 2 and Kanishka. Kanishka was one of the greatest king of Kushan empire. So Kanishka is compared to actually his, it's just like Ashoka. Kanishka was also a very great king. So Kushans actually were from Central Asia, that is near China. So from there they came, and they ruled Central Asia parts, North India, Northwest India, Punjab, Kashmir, Uttar Pradesh, Rajasthan, all over they had spread their boundaries, and they ruled from a place called Purshapura. You can see it in the map. It is the Peshawar of today. So they had their capital there. Kushan Empire had a lot of it was a very prosperous country because they were into a lot of trading that we will cover later. So it was one of the empires I told you about. Kadphises 1, Kadphises 2, and Kanishka. So what did Kanishka? Why was Kanishka as important as Ashoka? So there were many reasons for that. First reason was Kanishka actually started a new calendar known as the Saka calendar. Okay, the Saka calendar, just like your English calendar or the Gregorian calendar, it was a different calendar, and it actually was from the 78 AD onwards. So whatever we see from 78 AD is our Saka calendar. Okay. Secondly, Kanishka was also instrumental in propagating Buddhism. So Buddhism, which was already there during Ashokan times, grew during Kanishka's time. So Buddhism, he called in, so there was a lot of idea exchange and all. So Kanishka was like, let's put up a council, call in all these scholars of Buddhism, let them discuss, and let us try to promote in Buddhism. So the Buddhist council took place in Kashmir, where a lot of scholars and teachers came and they wrote books. One of them was Ashwagosha. So he wrote a very good book on the life of Buddha, which is known as Buddha Charita. Okay. So during Kanishka's time, Buddhism got promoted. He introduced a Saka era. Then not only that, he promoted trade. We will see all that in the when we learn about what and all impact they did. Okay. So this is a bit about these four kingdoms. Okay. So Kanishka, around 1st AD, the Kushan Empire had already begun. So you can say all these were before that. The Indo Greeks, the Shakas, the Parthians, and around 1st century AD began the Kushan kingdom, and along with that, lot of prominent rulers had come into our boundaries. Okay, so this is about the foreign kingdoms. So what and all did they do? All these foreign kingdoms, what impact did India have? So we will see what is the impact. First impact is they see, horses were not known in the country. So so these foreigners knew a lot about horses. Central Asian people, most of them were from Afghanistan, the Iran and all those regions, and Kushans were from Central Asia, North Central Asia and all. So these people knew about horses. They knew how to use them in warfare. They used to know how to breed horses. They knew how to make saddles, and they used to wear the proper military uniform for that. So all that changes they brought in the country. So whatever you see, like the boots, saddle, and all the uniform that you see was partially, we have actually got inspired from the military uniform of those days. Okay. Secondly, literature. You already saw Buddhist councils had given rise to many scholars. They wrote books. Not only Ashwagosha, there were many teachers who wrote books. So literature in this field grew. Also, Buddhism got promoted. A lot of these kings built caves, stupas, monasteries. Okay. so a lot of these caves were not only for Buddhist monks and priests, but it was also for traders who were generally into either Buddhism and Jainism, and they used to go from one place to another. So they also acted as rest houses. They had to stay somewhere in the night, take shelter during rains. So many of the kings constructed stupas, monasteries, and also all over Western Ghats and Eastern Ghats, you find a lot of such cave kind of shelters. Okay, so that also got promoted. And one of the things is Buddhism got split into two. During the Kushan Empire period, Buddhism got split into two. One was known as Mahayana, one was known as Hinayana. So Mahayana means Buddha is worshipped as a god. So even people who got enlightenment, who are known as Bodhisattvas, these people were also worshipped. So many kind of sculptures, idols came up for Mahayana. So Buddha was started, the sculptures started depicting Buddha as a god. Bodhisattva people also were being depicted as gods. So there were a lot of deities of Buddha, all that icons came up for Mahayana. Hinayana was something which did not believe about deities and all. They only believed in Buddha's books. So they believed that Buddha's speeches, sermons which are there in books have to be followed. But Mahayana was not like that. It's Mahayana. They wanted gods and deities, just like Hinduism, they wanted to worship the idols. So Mahayana was more to do with Buddha treated Buddha as a god and created a lot of idols, whereas Hinayana was more to do with books. So Mahayana spread into China, Japan and all. But Hinayana spread Sri Lanka, Burma, Indonesia and all. So it spread a little bit downward. Mahayana spread upwards like China, Japan, all those regions. So this Mahayana also helped in the art of sculptures. So a lot of art was developed during this period. So the artwork also got developed. The fourth change. So up till now we saw the military uniform being introduced, the impact of foreign kingdoms, literature grew, and Buddhism also got a boost. A lot of architecture also got promoted. The fourth point is the Gandhara style of art. The Gandhara style of art. So the Gandhara style of art, what it was, and Mathura, there was another artwork also, the Mathura style. Both we will have a look. So the Gandhara style of art was different. Gandhara is a place near Afghanistan, okay? So a lot of Greeks, Romans and Indians, there was a lot of exchange of ideas here, and they started carving idols which had Greek features. Like Buddha was carved as an idol which had the face of Greek god Apollo, or it had curly hair, it had clothes which had a lot of folds. Folds means those cloth that has been folded, the drapery is folded. So very accurate figures they used to do, and all had more or less Greek features. So this style developed in the place called Gandhara. So it was known as the Gandhara school of art. So this was one of the impacts of the foreign kingdoms. There was another art which was known as Mathura school of art, but this was completely local or Indian. So in Mathura, they also carved Buddha deities, but they were made of red stone, and they did not have Greek features. They were the Indian faces only, but they were more having a spiritual faces. More, it was not realistic, it was just idealistic. This is how they used to have a halo, and it used to have those spiritual looks in the images. Okay, so Gandhara and Mathura were the two kind of art. The fifth thing, what happened was during the foreign kingdom rule, trade had increased a lot, okay, especially during the Kushan time period. So Kushans controlled something called the Silk Route. So if you actually take a look at the map which is there in the 10th chapter in the 6th standard book, you can see the Silk Road they have shown. So that was from China. The Silk Route passed through many deserts, mountains and seas until it reached the Roman Empire. Okay. So this was known as the Silk Road. It was not a straight route. It used to have many ups and downs, but it used to go like this. So merchants, caravans, horses, peddlers all used to travel these places, taking with them all trade items, like they could carry silk, they would carry tea, they would carry pearls, they would carry cotton, so many things, spices, anything. So they would carry this, and this was controlled. This route was controlled by the Kushan kingdom. Okay, so people who would travel here, they would pay a kind of protection money or tax or toll tax to the king. So they would pay a tax. In return, the king would make sure that they would be protected. There would be no robbers in these areas. They would travel safely. So this way, the Kushans got a lot of money. So that's why the Kushan period has a lot of gold coins coming into the country. So this China to Roman Empire, the trading used to happen. So this was exploited by the Kushans, especially during the Kanishka period. The trade was at the very prosperous zenith. Okay, so this is about the rule of the foreign kingdoms. Now we will take a look into the kingdoms of south. Okay, so in kingdoms of south we will look into Cholas, Cheras, Pandyas, and we'll also look into Satavahanas. Okay, so take a look at this map. In this map you saw the Kushans kingdom, okay, but down if you see there is Cholas, Cheras and Pandyas. Okay, there is also something called Andhras who are actually Satavahanas. So now you know where they are placed. So these are all kingdoms of south. So in the south they come, both Chola Cheras and Pandyas and Satavahanas. So let us take a look at the first. We will take a look into Cholas, Cheras and Pandyas. So if you see first Cheras, they were in the Kerala country. Okay, they ruled from here, and they did a lot of trading with the Romans. Okay. Then if you see towards Tamil Nadu, Pandyas were there. Okay, Pandyan kingdoms were there. The capital was at Madurai, and they also traded with the Romans. Because they were all near seas, ports could be used, they could send out the trade items through land also, through sea also. So they controlled the sea. So whoever was near the sea, they could easily control the sea. They could use ships and boats to transfer the trade items. So they became very prosperous. So Cheras was the Kerala country. If you take a look at that map, you will come to know that they were ruling near Kerala. These were near Tamil Nadu, Madurai. Cholas were just above the Pandyan kingdom, and they had their capital at Kaveri. This was near the river Kaveri. So they also used to trade. In fact, Chola kingdom had a very good navy. They used to send, do battle, and go to very distant places and trade. So what and all did they trade? They traded spices. So pepper used to grow in South India. So back then the South India was known as Tamilakam, the South country, especially in the era of Chola Cheras and Pandyas. So So they used to grow spices, pepper used to be grown, that would be scent. So why was pepper so necessary? Pepper was used to season meat. Meat was very much used by the Europeans, and pepper used to grow here, be used to grow in the Indian Southeast Asian countries, so especially India and other places also. So there was a lot of demand for pepper. So spices used to go. Then textiles, cotton, all of them used to go. Thirdly, pearls. So they used to, because they were near the sea, there were, people who used to submerge in the sea and get hold of the pearls. So that also used to go from these countries, Chola Cheras and Pandyas. And finally, ivory. Kerala is a lot of elephants. So the tusk of elephant, the ivory also was very much prized. So many of these things used to go out to West Asia, China, Roman countries and all. Okay. So that is why Chola, Cheras and Pandyas grew very prosperous. So how do we know all these things? That is because there is something called Sangam literature. So Sangham means group, collection. So some 2000 years ago, it's believed that there were a group of scholars and poets who came together and wrote books. And because of these books, we have come to know a lot about the Chola Chera, early Chola Chera Pandyan kingdoms which were present in the south. So this is also known as Sangam era because the books are so valuable. There is a grammar book, there is a drama book, there is many books like Silapadikam, a variety of books are there. So that's why it is known as the Sangam era, because the literature, the books, it was a glorious era of people, of scholars writing the books and all. So Sangam era has given a lot of Sangam literature and talks about the early Chola Cheras and Pandyas. So this is sometime between 1st to 4th century period, whatever is there. The literature talks about. So this is known as the Sangam era or Sangam period. Okay. So that is about Chola Cheras and Pandyas. Now what about Satavahanas? So they are also known as Andhras, and they ruled the Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka regions. You remember Shakas who had come and dominated Western India and Deccan. So the Satavahanas used to fight with the Shakas, and they had also defeated the Shakas. So Satavahanas came after 100 years of Mauryan Empire. So Mauryan Empire was somewhere in 185 BC. So this Satavahana kingdom came sometime in 3rd BC. Okay, and they were also ruling Andhra and Karnataka. This is in south of the India. North of India it was all Mauryans, later Kushans and all. But in the south it was Satavahana kingdom. So this is what you have to remember. So when we talk about south, you take a look at the India map. There is a Krishna river which is flowing. Anything down of Krishna river was considered as south of India. So this is the about Satavahanas. In Satavahanas also there were many kings. Out of that, the famous person was Gautami Putra Shatakarani. Okay. So if you see the name here, Gautami is a mother's name. Gautami. Putra is son. So Satavahanas always gave a lot of prominence to women, mothers. So even women. So women were allowed to be part of assembly, prayers. They were allowed to give grants. They were important queens. So up till now you have seen like Aryans. They were all patriarchal. What is a patriarchal? Where father is the head of the family. And but Satavahanas were matriarchal. They gave prominence to women. Property was also given to women. So Satavahana names were also having the mother's name. So that is one about this one. Also a lot of coins of Satavahanas have the image of a ship, a boat and all. So trading was a lot in progress. They were also they were Hindus when they also gave they were tolerant of Hinduism, Buddhism. A lot of caves and monasteries in the south were built by Satavahanas. One of them is Amravati caves, which were a very important part of their culture. So this is what you have to remember about Satavahanas. So this is about the South Indian kingdoms. One were the Chola, Cheras and Pandyas in the extreme south. One was Satavahanas, who have been a little above Karnataka, Andhra. So these were all the rulers in the south. In the north, there were, the Mauryans, then came Kanva, Shungas, then the Indo Greeks had come, all of them had come, then came Kushans and all. But in the south, the history was different. Okay, and thanks to Sangam literature, we know a lot about these early kings. So this is the 10th chapter. Thank you.